All right. Welcome, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely. Always ready to explore.
Today, we're heading to a place that's been making headlines and sparking a lot of curiosity, a place where tradition meets modernity in a really fascinating way. We're talking about Qatar.
Oh, yeah, Qatar, a country that often defies expectations.
Exactly. We've been digging through research, going beyond the typical news snippets, those quick headlines you see, to really understand what makes this nation tick.
Yeah, I mean, there's always more to the story, right?
Always. So consider this your passport to a journey beyond the tourist brochures, a chance to really get to know Qatar.
Sounds good to me. Let's dive in.
Perfect. So first things first, let's set the scene. Imagine a peninsula.
All right, got it.
It's jetting out into these, turquoise waters of the Persian Gulf.
They're beautiful.
Right. Sun, sand, that whole vibe. That's Qatar. And here's the thing. It's surprisingly small.
Really? Smaller than I pictured, I think.
Yeah, it's only got one land border, and that's with Saudi Arabia.
Interesting. So geographically, it's kind of tucked away.
Totally. But don't let the size fool you. This little nation boasts one of the highest per capita incomes globally.
Whoa, how do they manage that?
Well, remember those vast natural gas reserves we hear about?
Oh, right, Qatar's energy wealth, yeah.
It's not just about how much they have, it's what they're doing with it.
That's key. Strategic use of resources can make all the difference.
Absolutely, and they've invested heavily, not only in extracting the gas, but in this, liquefaction technology.
Liquefaction, that's how they turn it into LNG, right? Liquefied natural gas.
Exactly, and that's made them, get this, the world's leading exporter of LNG.
Wow, that's impressive, turning a resource advantage into global market dominance.
Right, so they're not just sitting on a pile of oil money. They're thinking ahead, playing the long game.
That's a good sign. Any nation that's thinking long-term tends to be more stable, more attractive for investment.
Exactly, and that forward thinking is super evident in their efforts to diversify their economy.
Makes sense, not putting all their eggs in one basket. So what are they focusing on?
Well, they're really pushing into sectors like construction, big projects.
I can imagine with all the development happening there.
Oh, yeah, and then finance, becoming a hub for that.
Smart move. Financial centers tend to attract global talent and capital.
Definitely. And they're even investing in sustainable technologies, aiming to become, a knowledge-based economy.
That's ambitious. Transforming from an energy giant to a knowledge hub, that's quite a leap.
Yeah, and speaking of ambition, remember the 2022 FIFA World Cup?
Oh, yeah, how could I forget? It was everywhere.
Qatar really put its modern infrastructure on full display for that event.
Definitely showcase their capabilities to the world.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, what struck you about their approach to hosting?
Well, they didn't just build stadiums.
Right, they went all out.
Yeah, it was like they created entire new cities with state-of-the-art facilities.
I read about that, purpose-built for the event.
Yeah, and a whole new metro system. And they even had this sustainable cooling technology for the stadiums, which is pretty cool, no pun intended.
Wow, that's impressive. Using the World Cup as a launch pad for all this innovation.
It's like they leveraged a global event to propel themselves into a new era.
Exactly. So let's shift gears a bit, okay?
Yeah.
Imagine stepping into the heart of Qatar. You're walking through a bustling marketplace. The air's filled with the aroma of spices, that rich, warm scent.
Oh, yeah. I love those kinds of markets. So much to see and smell.
Right, and you can smell the traditional Qatari coffee brewing. It's a sensory experience like no other.
Sounds amazing. What's the atmosphere like?
It's vibrant. You'll see men in their crisp white thobes. Yeah, it's this loose flowing garment.
Oh, I've seen pictures. Very elegant.
They're practical for the desert climate, but they're also a symbol of national identity,
Right, tradition and practicality all in one.
Exactly. And the women, many of them will be in these elegant abayas.
Abayas, those are the beautifully embroidered black cloaks, right?
Yeah. They're often adorned with these intricate designs. It's really stunning.
It's a beautiful example of how they blend tradition and modern style.
Absolutely. It's a visual representation of their cultural fusion, where age-old customs meet contemporary fashion.
It sounds like a place where East meets West in a very harmonious way.
Totally. And we can't forget about the food. Have you ever tried Qatari cuisine?
I haven't, but I've heard it's amazing.
It's delicious. It's like a blend of influences, drawing from different cultures.
Sounds right up my alley. What are some of the must-try dishes?
Oh, you have to try makbuz.
Makbuz, what's that?
It's this fragrant rice dish with tender meat and spices, often saffron and cardamom. It was so good.
That sounds delicious.
Then there's sarid, a hearty stew with bread and meat, slow cooked to perfection.
Okay, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Right. These dishes are a window into their Bedouin heritage, adapted for modern tastes.
I love that. Traditional flavors with a modern twist.
Totally. All right, now let's talk about something else that gets me excited. Architecture.
Oh, I knew you'd get there eventually. What architectural marvels does Qatar have in store for us?
Well, first up, the Museum of Islamic Art. You absolutely cannot miss this one.
I've heard it's incredible.
It's designed by I.M. Pei, a renowned architect, and it's this amazing blend of modern and traditional Islamic architecture.
It must be a sight to behold.
Oh, it is. And it sits right on the Doha waterfront, so the setting is breathtaking.
What about the collection inside?
Oh, it's vast. It spans centuries and continents, showcasing the richness of Islamic art and history. It's really a testament to the global reach of Islamic culture.
Wow, that's impressive. So they've got the modern marvel and the historical depth covered. What else is there?
Okay, so there's also the Qatar Cultural Village. It's this hub for art, theater, and music where you can experience traditional Qatari performances.
Sounds lively.
Oh, it is. And then there's the Pearl Qatar.
Pro Qatar, what's that?
It's this man-made island with luxury residences, marinas, high-end boutiques, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, a man-made island. That's ambitious.
Right. It's like a testament to their grand development projects and their vision for the future.
I'm starting to see a theme here, thinking big and bold.
Definitely. And for a glimpse into Qatar's past, you have to check out the Al Zubarah Fort.
A fort, huh? What's
Yeah.
the story behind that?
It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it takes you back to their pearling and trading history, before the oil and gas boom.
Interesting. So it's a reminder of their roots, a contrast to the modern skyscrapers of Doha.
Exactly. Speaking of modern Doha, it's fascinating how they've prioritized a high standard of living, especially for expats.
Expats. There must be a lot of them with all the development happening.
Oh yeah, they make up a significant portion of the population.
Interesting. So what makes Qatar so attractive to expats?
Well, security is a top priority, The crime rate's super low, and there's a strong sense of safety.
That's definitely a big draw, especially for families.
Absolutely. And then there's the healthcare system. It's world-class, easily accessible, and incredibly advanced.
Good healthcare is a must, no matter where you live.
For sure. And of course, there are the tax-free salaries. That's a major perk for many.
Tax-free. Wow, that's a huge incentive. No wonder it's so appealing.
Right. But it's important to note that there's this system called kafala.
Kafala. I've heard of that, but I'm not entirely sure what it is.
It's a sponsorship system, essentially. It governs the residency and employment of foreign workers.
So it impacts expats directly.
Oh, absolutely. And it's been a topic of discussion and debate for good reason.
What are some of the concerns about it?
Well, there have been concerns about worker rights and the level of control sponsors have over employees.
Ah, I see. So it's a complex issue.
Very much so. The good news is there are reforms underway to address those concerns, provide more worker rights and flexibility.
It's good to hear. Progress is always welcome.
Definitely. So for our listeners who are entrepreneurial minded, Qatar is actually booming with opportunities.
Oh, really? What sectors are hot right now?
Construction is big, of course, with all the development projects.
Makes sense.
Technology is another one. They're really pushing innovation.
Smart move, riding the wave of the future.
Totally. And sustainable development is another area that's attracting a lot of interest.
Sustainability is huge everywhere these days.
Yeah. And the Qatari government is actively encouraging foreign investment. They want entrepreneurs to come in and contribute.
So they're not just relying on their energy sector, they're diversifying and welcoming innovation.
Exactly. They're offering incentives for small and medium enterprises,
Yeah.
making it easier to, set up shop and get going.
That's good to know. It sounds like they're creating a business-friendly environment.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about transportation. Getting around Qatar is surprisingly easy.
Oh, really? I always imagine it being a bit of a challenge, especially in a country that's experiencing such rapid growth.
I know what you mean, but they have this modern, efficient transportation network.
Like what?
Well, there's the Doha Metro. It's impressive, connecting key areas of the city.
A metro system, that's convenient.
Yeah. And then there's the Carwa bus service, which is pretty comprehensive.
Okay, so good public transportation options.
And of course, there's the Hamad International Airport. It's considered one of the best in the world.
I've heard good things about it.
They've really thought it through, making it easy for people to travel in and out of the country.
So they've got the infrastructure to support their ambitions.
They do. It all adds up to a pretty seamless experience for residents and visitors alike.
Impressive. It sounds like Qatar is a nation on the move.
It really is. And it leaves us with this question. What does this all mean for Qatar's future?
It's a good question. They're navigating a complex path, balancing tradition with modernity, economic power with cultural diversity.
And they're doing it all on a global stage. It makes you wonder how their strategic location, their ambition, and their evolving identity will shape their role in the world.
It's definitely something to think about, and I encourage all our listeners to keep exploring, to do their own deep dive into this fascinating nation.
Couldn't agree more. There's always more to discover. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on another deep dive.
Until next time.
See you then.